Guten Tag, guten Abend, welcome at Sprechsaal. Welcome at this exhibition, which is here for a year. We have it from March 2nd till November 25th. It's about class awareness, feminism, queerness, you know, intersectionality, everything which is actually coming up tonight as well in different perspectives, so many different perspectives that I'm so insecure that I don't go into content because we have so many content tonight here that I'm just standing here for other reasons than content. But I'm so glad that you're here because we have obviously a huge event around the corner in TU about feminism, feminist materialism, and so
don't say that, we're on leave now.
And no, it's not interesting at all. You know, it's academics anyway. So, Philipp Meinert and Lynn Breedlove, and I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm so glad that Mr. Yoni Leiser, who's actually now entering that hall, introduced me through his queercore How to Punk a Revolution movie to Lynn's work and to the amazing power they brought to me and to the whole audience in Vienna. And so I'm just glad that we start with Philipp about his upcoming book, The History of Homopunk.
Yeah, yes, you can say so.
Yeah. And and that Lynn will follow him. And I'm just so happy that you're here, and I'm too, and they are too.
I wrote a book. It's finished, but it's not printed already, and it's in German. The book is called Homopunk History, as you can read, and it's kind of the history of LGBTIQ and punk and hardcore scene. It starts in the late 60s. I started at some point like the Velvet Underground in the pre-punk scene, so you see, and it's finished now in the present. And you see, okay, it's 50 years I'm writing about, and I've got 30 minutes now to talk about it. So, so I have to limit myself a little bit. Maybe you understand. And so I thought, okay, what should I do? How could I limit myself? And I put it. I thought, okay, what could I cut out? I think I won't talk about queercore, because queercore is a very important part, but as you know, as Lars already said, there's this movie. Just if you're interested in queercore, I think you can actually watch more of the movie, so I will focus a little bit on the 70s, a little bit of the 80s, and I will more tell some stories which might be a little bit entertaining, which was before the queercore movement, which started in the mid-80s. And so that's where I will begin. Where will I begin? It's always hard to say where starts the subculture, where's the point where it exactly was. I had to think about it. I think it started in the late 60s with some artists, the punk movement, not the queer punk movement, but the punk movement really started in the late 60s with bands like the Stooges, with E-pop, MC5, and of course the Velvet Underground. And they were the ones, I would say, who were the more queer ones. There was this guy you see, maybe you know Lou Reed, was the singer of the Velvet Underground. If you listen to Velvet Underground and you think, okay, what's the roots in punk? Maybe you don't really get it first about the music, because it's kind of, it's more quiet, it's more arty, it's not like the Stooges and the MC5 who really rocked like. They rocked too, but in another way, of course. But I think the influence of the Velvet Underground was, of course, the lyrics, because the lyrics were very open. They were the first ones who were thinking about prostitution, S&M, and transsexuality, of course. And they were kind of the first band who was so taking these lyrics and were so open about it. You all know the song about Take a Walk on the Wild Side, which is very open, it's talking about many people of the New York scene, of the Warhol scene there. It's a kind of tribute to it. Sing about, for example, Candy Darling, and they had to go to another song which is just Candy Says, and we're very open about singing about it. And some songs like, even there are some songs like, what was it? Makeup called, and slogans of the gay liberation movement, which started in the early 70s. It was with lyrics like "We're coming out of the closets, out on the street," which was kind of brave in its time for an artist, I would say. And of course, it's important to say that Lou Reed was one of the first, or was the first open-down bisexual artist ever. It's all his long-term relationships were with mostly with biological women. He has got a relationship with a I don't know if it was drag or transsexual. I couldn't find out what would be more. It's always described like a drag person. But it's known that he has got some homosexual contacts and was kind of open about it. When he was asked in an interview if he is gay or a transvestite, he said something like, yes, sometimes, and things like this. And when we what you are, what's the difference? He was talking about it kind of open. More open. And influence on punk, not that big, I would say, but it was too. It's this guy you might all know. It's Lou Reed, the first guy, the first rock musician who said, "I'm gay." Well, he was married to a woman to this time. At this time, when he said it was in '72, and already he had a child. Maybe he was bisexual. We shouldn't judge about it. But of course, it was his impact on the music that he, the culture that he was, this androgynous glam look he had, and he questions, of course, as you should know, all the gender roles. Bowie was great, but there was a link, I would say, between glam and punk, which was these guys. In that time, there wasn't that successful for a band because they had existed between '71 and '75. They had 2 albums, but they were more an kind of inside hit in New York. They didn't really emerge from that. I think it was in this time when there was so much in New York in the scene. Many of it only worked in New York before punk really came out. Even the Ramones later toured after the Sex Pistols really had the kind of punk coming out. It's always said that they are doing drag or something, but it's not really true because they nearly never wore women's clothes. It was just like this kind of, how would you say it, dandy style to the max. Of course, they were makeup and this haircut, but they are all very kind of heterosexual. But this, of course, like Bowie did, they really questioned the gender roles. And a keynote, the last manager of the New York Dolls was Malcolm McLaren, the guy who brought up the Sex Pistols later. But he had a very weird idea because he said, okay, the band was nearly to an end in the mid-70s, to put them, I don't have the picture here, but it's kind of funny. It was, okay, a new role, transvestites, but we make them communists. They were tied leather, red leather stuff with hammer and sickle on it, played for a Soviet flag and something like this. And as you might know, as you could think about it, it didn't really work, and the band kind of ended in the mid-70s before the punk came out. They reunited a little bit later, but that's not the point here. We come to another person of the New York scene. This is Jane County, and I always said this seems like the first. And this was the first open trans rock star, I would say. she came from Atlanta, Georgia, and she just, it said that she took the wrong bus and just came to New York by accident. She wanted to come to San Francisco, but then she got involved in she came there and she just go to one bar. She knew it was the Stonewall, and it was the time of the Stonewall riot. She wasn't involved in the Stonewall riot, it's sometimes said, but she did some of the demonstrations, and she arrived at this time when this gay liberation thing moved in New York. She made a kind of indie underground career there. She played in some Warhol theaters and got DJ at Max Kansas City, which was an important venue for the early punk scene or the art punk scene in New York, where many of the Warhol people were. Later she formed a band, a pre-punk band known as the Electric Chairs. They had first the name the Backstreet Boys, really. But they changed the name. And if you want to listen to something, I have a great song. If you don't want to fuck me, baby, baby, fuck off. I think that's a kind of punkish thing. But Jane County is a good example to show that it's not all so liberal in the 70s around the glam and the early punk scene, because she got in trouble with this guy there. This is Handsome Dick Manitoba. He's the singer of the Dictators. It's another pre-punk band, not that well known, I would say. And he was kind of, he liked to go to shows, of course, for people, especially when the women are there, like Blondie, and say, yeah, you bitch, and so. And he went up to a show to Jane County too, and that was the mistake. He was coming there. It was in the CBGBs, and he came there, yeah, queer, and queer was a bad word at this time. Yeah, fucking drag, he said something like this. But that Jane took as a chance to beat him up with this microphone thing here. And they got really in fight on the street. And the funny thing was, many people thought it was a kind of show, but they really got in trouble. And the people got more confused because she was, at this time she was singing a song with a line, with a song called Rock and Roll Recreation. It was Wash Me in Blood of Rock and Roll. And this was after the fight. But I had an interview with Jane too, and she focused me to say, now they are good friends. Is everything okay between them? And everything's cool, just to let you know. Just a short thing. I go there very quick. So if you have any questions later, we have, of course, the time to discuss it. You can ask if it's something not clear. I go very. Or if you say, okay, you missed it, we can talk about it for sure. We'll come to another band you might know. Even 4 of them. This is the Ramones. The Ramones were at some point where in the mid-70s, at some point it changed a little bit because it got more male, masculine. They had got songs like, "Hey little girl, I want to be your boyfriend," and something like this. They were more not this kind of part of this queer New York scene where Jane County was part of. But even they had some elements. There's this guy in the middle, this is a manager, it's Danny Fields, was a manager in 75 until 80, it's an important time, and he was gay, and he had a very big impact on the scene. He gave the first contract to MC5 and the Stooges, for example, working with from the Doors, the guy Morrison? And some other people. So he was kind of more important than, I would say, Malcolm McLaren, but he's kind of very shy. I think that was the New York Times who said, okay, without Danny Fields, punk would never have happened. And it's kind of interesting that this movement kind of came up from a gay person, I would say. So even if he was kind of another he had a view on it, I would say, because I had this interview with him for the book too. He's nearly 80. And we were talking about questions like, was there, okay, you were a gay person, there was this other guy who made the famous Ramones logo, he's gay, was there a kind of gay impact on the band? And he didn't even understand the question, he thought I was kind of stupid, because he was this kind of, he was not socialized by, okay, everything, you have to reflect yourself, you have to think about your sexuality, okay, he was more kind of this, okay, I'm gay, I fuck with guys and I don't get to jail with this, I'm satisfied, everything is okay. And so the interview was kind of chaotic because all my questions got in this direction and it was more, all the answers was more like, no, it's just rock and roll. And I was like, okay. But I brought in the book anyway because I thought it was an interesting document. And another term is this guy, Didi Ramon. It is known that he was in the mid-70s a gay hustler. And the Ramones, even that's not, I think many people did it, but the Ramones even wrote a song about it. And it was called 53rd Street, and this is the corner in Manhattan where the gay hustlers were meeting. And he said, it's autobiographical. So even if it's more straight, when punk became more straight, there are some queer lines you can see. Okay, I want to jump now to London. Many people think, okay, punk emerged in London, and in some way it's right, in some way it's wrong, as I showed. It's interesting because London has another history of subcultures. There were movements like in the early 50s, like the Teds, the Teddy Boys, the Mods, and later in the late 60s, the Skinheads, for example. And as you can see, it's more kind of conservative subcultures. It was not like the queer art scene in New York. And I think all these kind of subcultures had an impact on the later punk, and that's maybe an explanation why many of the queer stuff in the English punk scene can't be found. Of course, there can be some found, but not that much. But even the early even the early punk scene in London in the mid-70s, they were going to many gay bars, and this had a reason because they didn't get thrown out like in the normal pubs where the more working class people were, and they could listen to another kind of music, and it was more experimentational. But it's kind of disappeared when the punk scene had their own rooms, and then it got kind of more masculine. And you all know this band, which is kind of the godfathers of punk. But many people don't know that for a short period of time, a trans person was playing in the Sex Pistols. It was only for a few months. This time it was Steve New, it was Stella Nova. Stella Nova later, she had trans coming out very late. But she was playing bass for a short period of time for the Sex Pistols, nearly very short before the band came out as really big and became popular as well in late 75, when one of the guys wanted to quit the band. But I always thought about it, what would be kind of interesting if there would be a trans person, even if before the coming out was, and playing in the this very famous and very influential punk band. We don't know. Unfortunately, Stella Nova died in 2010, so we couldn't ask, unfortunately. Yeah, and it turned on with the English punk. Maybe you know it got all more rough, it got more tough guy stuff, it got more this all this kind of hard guys with bands like GBH and Discharge and this guy Watty from Exploited. They all got really hard, and the funny thing I thought is because that this look comes from Judas Priest. From the mid-70s, I think it comes from there, and he has maybe people know in the late 90s he came out as gay, and so I think it's kind of funny that this scene becomes more masculine. Even they adopt the style from a gay guy, later outcoming gay guy, and I think I might know it's kind of this looks kind of very homosexual in a way, I would say. Now I want to come to Germany. What brought punk to Germany? It's not like underground clubs, it's not like all this small underground scene, stuff like this. It was big newspapers or big magazines in Germany, like Der Spiegel, for example. This was more for the parents, and there's culture from the slums, brutal and ugly. This is Jane County. And there was an article which was kind of known, it was in 78. This was more for the parents to see, okay, what's wrong with the kids who are coming from London and look so strange and listen to this strange music, and they could explain that there's going on something very horrible with her kids. But on the other hand, there was, it's still existing, a very famous and very influential magazine called Bravo, and they were more kind of neutral, and they were called about the English punk bands that were talking about very neutral, and they brought stories about the Clash, the Sex Pistols, and the Ramones in a very early time, and this was more what brought punk to Germany more than other stuff, because you couldn't get records, you had no internet, you just had to get it from the mainstream media, which is kind of funny, I think. So, because punk got adopted more from England, it don't have these elements anymore, these queer elements too, because, and some people in the early punk scene tried to make their success. The early punk bands even didn't sound like punk. It was more hard rock, a very special German kind of music like krautrock. And one of the bands, I will later explain why they are important in a way, are called the Straßenjungs, means the street guys. And it's because they're a casting band. There were two guys, two producers who think, okay, we want to do the German Sex Pistols. So they casted 4 guys who didn't have anything to do with punk rock at all. They were more blues musicians, it was from Frankfurt. They got them some silly dress, made their kind of strange mohawk, and made them to some very offensive lyrics, or what could be understand of offensive. So songs about oral sex and something like this, what they thought about, oh, that would be shocking. But no one got really shocked about it. And so, of course, this band got not really important anyway, but there's an interesting keynote. They were the first, in 77, the first German punk band who made a song about male homosexuality, and it was not this kind of, like this most kind of joke band. It was more that he got in contact with a guy on a public toilet, and he was cruising, and it was kind of serious in a way, and I think that's another kind of interesting keynote. That's why I talk about this band, which is kind of quite forgotten. So many people might ask now, okay, you're telling all about these gay guys, where are the lesbians now? I want to talk about it, and it's, you might know this woman, she's called Nina Hagen. She's more known as a pop star in Germany, but she has got a very important influence on the early punk scene. It was more kind of new wave music, but as I said, it's kind of open. It was not this straight punk rock thing in this. And she was the one with the first lesbian punk song. It's called Auf dem Bahnhof Zoo. It means on Bahnhof Zoo there. And she, another thing, again on a toilet, she was meeting a woman, and she was totally obsessed by her. And oh my god, she's a young punk woman, and she's so attractive, and I want to kiss her. And in the end of the song, she kisses her, and this woman really existed. It was a picture together with her. It was Ariap from the Slits, which is known today. It was the Slits were the first, I hate this word, but woman punk band. Punk bands only with female members. And it's known that Nina Hagen was often in London with them, and they had some kind of affair. And she didn't hide it, even if we had in the beginning of a song which we played in Rock Palast, which was a very important TV show showing many bands in the 70s and in the 80s, I think in the 90s still, in TV when you had even 3 channels in Germany, so it was kind of important and many people saw it, and she was saying something like, where was it? Yeah, she said, I have a girlfriend and she's 15 and yeah, she sings in London in a band called The Slits and I fall in love with her, and she was it was in the late 70s and it was very open about it. That's what I wanted to say it. But then not really much happened in the German punk scene, so much about queerness, LGBTIQ for a longer term. There were some bands like Duff, but they were not so much in the punk scene anymore. They came from the Düsseldorf punk scene, but they are not so much in the punk scene anymore, did more industrial stuff. The band started with 5 people, and then they ended up with 2, and they really acted like a homosexual couple. I think this guy, he said, I had an interview with him too, this is Gabi Delgado, he said, okay, he was homosexual until 24, 25, but then not anymore, so he had this kind of experience. They provocated, even with some kind of Nazi stuff, so there's a song called Tanze Mussolini, Dance Mussolini. I said Tanzen Adolf Hitler too, and things like this in this line. Had some other songs like about marching into Poland and stuff like this. It was really that kind of style, but they had always even some gay love song like Robber and the Prince, about a love story between a robber who catches a prince and then they fall in love and stuff like this. And he said, okay, this song was much more provocating than this Nazi stuff. They had got a right-wing audience at this time. Many skins came there because sometimes they had the skinhead aesthetic, you can see it here. And they always played this kind of laughter to offend them. Yeah. I would say, rough enough, they came hardcore. It emerged in the late 70s with bands like Minor Threat, Bad Brains, and this band kind of the Germs. They had got a singer, very charismatic guy. This guy, it was Darby Crash, and he was one of those persons who was gay. But he never really came out. He was kind of afraid to come out because the scene changed in a way at this moment. It became more rough, it became more homophobic, it became not that good, it was more experimental before, but it had got many gay people in the LA scene where they came from, forgot to say that, sorry. And more the tough guys who wanted violence came more to the shows, and he was very afraid because fag bashing was a thing coming up too. And he died at 21 and he never really came out about it. Kino, another one, this is Pat Smee, is now playing in the Foo Fighters. So he made his kind of career. Yeah, as I said, became more kind of homophobic and some bands were more open about it. These are the Bad Brains. They got into great musicians, really, but then they kind of weird. They smoked a lot of weed. I don't know if it's got something to do with it, but yeah, they came into this Rastafari cult and then thought about, okay, and then it became, because of their religious roots, they had got really big problems with gays. It's something like when they played in San Francisco, where asked how was it? Yeah, that was cool, but too many gay people. It was a very big topic for them. Oh my God, everybody's gay, and I'm afraid of it. He even played in Texas with a band which was very important, like the Dicks and the Big Boys. They all had kind of gay members, and he didn't even realize, and it was all fun. And when it came out that there are gay people in the band, he totally freaked out and said, and they reported it to a very important magazine, which is called the Maximum Rock and Roll. And then the kind of career it started a discussion. In that way, it was kind of good. It started a discussion about homophobia in the scene, and so the bad brands got really problems later. They still got famous, but they could get, it was always a thing, it's until today, okay, what about the homophobic part? This guy, Human Rights, it's a name, HR, never said anything about it, some apologized of them, but it's always a kind of shadow about their career. And this other band is come from New York. It's called the Chromax, and they were more kind of open. They had got a very famous album, and they showed everything on the artwork. They had I think no anti-gay lyrics, but they showed everything. The album is wrong. I don't know if you can see it. Drugs. It's slaughtering. They were vegans all. Animal abuse, pornography, prostitution, abortion there, and of course a gay couple. This was the kind of direction some parts of the hardcore scene especially went, because as you have to maybe understand, it was the time when it got tougher for gay guys, because AIDS emerged and the whole country, even there was a conservative rollback, I think it's not only in the hardcore and the punk scene, it was more in the whole society. It was just a picture of society, I would say. But it was not a nice time, I think, for gay people. Yeah, this would be the kind of my other, I will talk about queercore, but as I said, I want to now, and I will jump a little bit now, and I will talk a little bit about Berlin. It's cool that you are here, because now comes a part of you. In Berlin, of course, there was always a kind of queer punk scene too. And I want to talk about this. This is a picture of the Pride in '97. This is a big rat. As you maybe can see it, it's doing like this. It's a faggotry rat, and there's a quote on it. Another quote, yeah, it's a quote, on it, and say, "Rats of all country unite." This had got a history. In '79, there was a politician here in Berlin who was talking about, yes, that criminals, foreign people, and left-wing people should be threatened, should be fighted like rats and something, and people were very offended for sure, because the picture of humans as rats is Nazi speech, and it's Jews are compared with rats, and so many people got very offended of it. So they made this. These are people from the so-called Tuntenhaus. They made this wagon, this float, I think you say. And they participated at the Pride here. There was this kind of discussion of the Pride is coming too commercial. And they said that they have got a big tube, Badewanne? Badewanne, yeah, thank you. There, and there was mud in it, and they all got covered with mud, each other, and seemed to have a lot of fun with it. And it's sad that they were throwing mud on the other people. And so the officials of the Pride in Berlin said, "No, you have to leave now. It's a short period." And they got to Kreuzberg, and this was the point when the first alternative or trans or TCSD emerged at this time. Where's the picture? Oh yeah, cool. But of course there was some kind of homosexual pictures in the punk scene. This is a band called Turbo Negro. It was in the 90s, and this was a band who was very popular at this time, and they got kind of popular because they had gay image in some way, they're all straight, but I think it's kind of interesting how they got this, because they are from Norway, and they thought, okay, it was in this time in the early 90s when in Norway black metal scene, I don't know if you know something about it, but there were, I think, with murder and burning churches and something you couldn't top in provocation. They always liked provocation, but they thought, okay, I couldn't top it. So what to do when you can't top murder? You give your band a gay image to make to make it popular, and they acted like in interviews when they said, how was the tour in the US? They said, oh my god, yeah, all the cops were so sexy and stuff like this. They really made it. And it's kind of interesting, I think it's in the 90s, not that long ago, that you can even shock with a gay image. Later it disappeared a little bit in the late 90s, and they didn't make, they had got some really gay songs and stuff like this, but they didn't really make it. It was more a kind of party rock and roll band, and they made more elements of glam and stuff like this, and but they still wear this demon stuff, and they do. So, okay, not so much LGBTIQ people, and there was a film in the early 2000s. Some people might have known. It was called All Warning. It was kind of popular because at this time there was a big discussion about skinheads in Germany at this time. And if you see it, it was a really queer movie, I would say, but not so many people read it. Even it's a love story between a skinhead guy and a punk. But it was at this time when there was a big discussion about violence in about right-wing skinheads, violence and stuff like this, and this was a little bit in this time when all people focused on the skinheads and the violence, even it wasn't about Nazi skinheads, it was about unpolitical skinheads. But some people, didn't really see it. I want to come to an end. I want to show a little bit some examples how queerness emerged from the punk scene coming into mainstream, and I wanted to show some examples. This is Beth Ditto. She's calling herself Fat Dyke, and she has got her roots in the riot girl scene. Because she came later, it was not really there in the riot girl scene when art came up with Bikini Kill and Bradmobile and this. She came later, but she always said, okay, it was a big influence on her. Another person, which was kind of important, I would say, Laura Jane Grace. She has a band called Against Me, and she came out as trans in 2012, and she had even an autobiography called Tranny. And she became kind of successful now. What many people don't know, this band, Pussy Riot, just always called, a feminist band, but many people don't see that they have got a lot of fighting for LGBTIQ rights too in Russia, which is kind of tough, I would say. And another example, I was thinking about, it could be a band who refers to queercore, and who could be the next big thing, it could be a kind of important. It is a band called Power Bottom. They got very good press in mainstream media. They always refer to queercore, and this was the thing I first thought when I started writing the book. Okay, this could be the first act. I was always looking, which is the first commercial act in queer punk, and this could be, but there's some said that they have got some that they one of the guys raped one of the fans, and they said no, but this was the end of the career, which is quite understandable. That was a very short overview. I hope I didn't confuse you too much. So thank you very much. And if you have got some questions, I don't know, Lars, if you do it now, Lars. Okay, then if you don't have any questions, then it seems to be good. Then thank you very much for listening to me.
guys, what's up? We're Berlin and we're talking about punk rock. What's up? There's punk artists right over there behind you. Oi, warning. Filmmaker right there, that guy right there. Behind you, step right. See him? So later, you gotta come up.
Flabbergasted.
Oh, amazing. So later, you might have to come up and also answer questions about skinheads and punks and gayness.
Skinheads and love.
Gay skinheads. Yeah, I'm Lynn Breedlove, and I'm in Philip's book. Didn't talk about it, dude. It's kind of disappointed. Feels ain't hurt. It's okay. But yeah, I was in Tribe 8, and I'm in this band called the Homobiles. Songs about cars and babes, crimes and change. We lure people in with the cars and babes and act like it's going to be a good time, and then we finger wag and talk about politics. Not too much. Anyway, so yeah, I find that is the best way to get people to care about important causes, because sometimes we just want to check out and not think about shit, and you have to make people jump around and scream and yell and chop up rubber dicks and chainsaws and shit, have to be flying around, and then they're like, yeah, I like politics, this is political, right? And also just because if you are a queer, everything you do is automatically outrageous and political. So let's see. Oh, and I'm not going to read from this book, but I promised my publisher to wave it around, because last time I was on tour 10 years ago, I was reading from this book. I was doing my One Freak Show, which is a solo comedy show on gender, which is what old punks end up doing. When the rest of the band gets jobs, you're like all by yourself. So those two guys, there were only two guys left because they were fucking or something. I don't know. But anyway, when you're the only guy left, then you have to just do a solo show. And it's good because then you don't have music to drown out your words. Annoying musicians or so my next book that is coming up is a book of poetry, which I don't know how I got roped into that, but I fell in love with that babe right there, and then asshole got elected, and then I was just writing lots and lots and lots of shit every day, poems, and then Stephanie Joy Ashley put them in this order, and then they were poetry book, and then I took them to my publisher at Manic D Press, and she's like, yeah, I'll publish your shit. Everything right, I'm just gonna publish it. And I'm like, oh my god, now I'm doing a fucking book of poetry. That's so gay. So anyway, also, I just promised that I would give a couple shout outs to lesbians, because you didn't put up lesbians. Nope. Yeah, so we had complaints. And also I want to thank this place and Lars Dreiucker for putting this together, and Yoni Laser for like making a movie about this shit, and Philipp Meinert for writing a book about this shit, and just everybody for showing up and being interested and intellectually like thinking about stuff that's just more fun to do than talk about, but whatever. So I'm gonna also give shout outs to people of color and queer punk, because that happened more starting, for me anyway, that I noticed in the 90s. So there's Great Betraying and Tribe 8, had POC in them. There was, in the 80s, I was really excited about Bad Brains, and then I was pretty politicized, so I did not understand until recently that they were homophobes. And so I was bummed about that. But, and there was also that punk band called Death. They're country punk. They're like metal punk. And there's a documentary about them that you can look into. And The Underlovers, that Brontes, are very famous also. Just to name a few. Also Joan Jett Black, who's a pretty fucking gnarly death bitch from hell from Chicago. And I don't know, there's more. Mickey Blanco right now. And so I have some poems, mostly, I just picked some that are specifically about queers and musicians. So I'm going to start with a guy who's not known as a great punk, but he died. And so this is about a lot of dead queers, because it seemed to me that right before 45 took power, I'm just going to call him 45 because I'm not going to mention anything. Right before he took power, a whole bunch of fucking cool people died. It was like, they're like, I'm out. So I'm going to start with this guy. R.I.P. George Michael. we knew you were gay with father figure. I mean, what else could you be? Still, for a long time, only rumors. An ex-GF who dated Seal said she saw you make eyes at him across the pool, or was it the pool table, at his fancy mansion. Still, you had to be caught in a park bathroom with a cop to come out. Still, nothing changes, even especially for pop stars. But that was the last sneaky BJ for you. Next, a video in Mirror to Aviators about public sex and shaming us made all 10 of us proud as we watched in a San Diego gay bar. Still, you got free. Now, I guess your family will euphemize your death from complications from pneumonia or whatever code they're giving it these days. Your family consists of straight girls who wanked off to you at 13 because they couldn't see your real family was us. Still, the plague makes of us diseased pariahs, even the rich, famous, successful, handsome, perfect outlands. Even if we were never sick, we stand for the sick. We stand up for those who want to defend your honor by saying you weren't. And what? We're better than our dead friends because we didn't die of the plague? You would have tossed that bullshit aside. You stood for us, for you. Wear a gold star when you're no Jew. Say you're positive when you're not. You'd do it. Although you can't chime in on this thread, I have to believe you would have. See, I do need another hero. I do have faith. Switch a star on your belly, turn systems of privilege and flags upside down. Right now, truth is monumental, but a lie. To make a point is fine, as you always were. We're sick and proud of it. There always is a whole bunch of controversy when somebody who's kind of queer but kind of closeted, whether it's Prince or Bowie or George Michael, whether or not there was complications from AIDS, and then nobody wants to ever talk about it because that would be a shame, a shanda. And I'm like, no. And also, you were just talking about how when you were in the Castro in the 90s and how it was still, everybody was still reeling from the plague. You know, like the 80s, there was actually The Walking Dead. We're just walking around being like, and a lot of our stars, a lot of people, queers and straights alike, just want to hold up on some kind of weird straight pedestal. Which, no, I'm against it. Okay. Bowie's grave. Yes, children, recite your lessons, speak out, tear down heroes, shame everyone, spit on graves. Die easy, knowing one day you'll bless smashings of your image, any homage. Recycle destruction, rend society, remote control zombies, dumbly stumbling. You understand now, stomp the Buddha. Bowie demanded, escape the proscribed. No gold stars for coloring in lines, not clean or upright. Love James Brown and Jerry Lee Lewis, break everything and sleep in what's left. Silence equals death, looting equals life. Choose your store wisely. Long, loving looks at ugly, shame is compelling, iconoclasm is welcome. To be saints, leaders, and heroes, eschew halos, crowns, and laurels. Dethroned, rock stars saw you through changes and never wanted sainthood, yelled, break it all. Remake it in your image, as it will be remade again, as your grave will be spat on when you're gone. Let loogies water daisies where we fall. That one is about, I'm sure that people are supposed to like introduce shit before they do the thing, but I'd rather talk about after. That is about when Bowie died. You know, the Me Too thing is happening, and it came up again that he had, you know, had sex with somebody that was like 13. And although that particular person was like, that was great, I loved it, it's not a problem. You know, other people were like, she doesn't get to decide, he did a bad thing. And I think, I mean, my band, the Homobiles, we had a moment at practice where we're like, well, he died, so we want to do Rebel Rebel. And then some people in the band were like, actually, that's not appropriate right now. And we're like, but we love Dave Bowie. And so, you know, I had to think about it a lot, and I think that for me, what came through is that I'm not a saint. I'm sure when I die, people are going to try to dredge up something that I haven't already compulsively self-disclosed, which will be a challenge, I'll tell you what. But you know what I mean? Like, I believe that he had since like cleaned up his shit and like probably made some kind of amends, and I would hope that we all do that in our lifetimes. And since he got clean and slobber in the 80s, I hope that he did. That was part of his deal, was cleaning up his shit. And if he didn't, may he burn in hell. Prince. Bowie's death was a walk in the park compared to Prince's. I haven't wanted to talk about it because, as Chappelle said when he was cool, it's Black 9/11. It was 82. Me and my girl, we did it one time and said I loved you, moved in together. Well, that's how you did it. Never considered people might think an interracial couple was something. We were in that love bubble, and it was Oakland, full of black people and white people, no big. 83. We moved to another hood in Oaktown, an apartment building. Still stood out as the black and white dykes, still didn't care. Driving a 64 Chevy pickup one day, I heard this pornograph falsetto song, and I thought, whoa, who's this chick getting so personal on the radio? And then the DJ said, that was Prince singing Doobie Baby. And I said, oh shit, I need to pay more attention to this gender fucker. We moved to the white neighborhood. My dad ran into us. Still standing out, still not caring. But I think it started to wear on us a little, especially her. Being the only white dyke in a black hood was different than being the only black dyke in a white hood. Something about privilege I didn't know yet. 84, my best friend from high school told me he was positive. I got off the phone and broke down. I sat in the living room that year under the Gone with the Wind spoof poster of Thatcher and Reagan with the mushroom cloud in the background. Watched Mad Max, Brother from Another Planet, Liquid Sky and Hunger, Christiana F., and Sid and Nancy 6 times each before returning them to the video store. Drank a million buds and slip and slid with our pals in our wife beaters and mirrored cop shades before they became wife pleasers. Do you guys know what wife pleasers are? Do you know what wife beaters are? Only Americans are nodding. A wife beater is what they used to call a sleeveless t-shirt. That's form-fitting, but dykes changed it to wife pleasers. So, the queer influence on the greatest. We most definitely were wife beaters, beating the hell out of each other over a freebase pipe. Sat in front of Grandma's converted TV console, high lacquer cherry wood cabinet full of records and a turntable. Drank myself silly to Howlin' Wolf and Lightnin' Hopkins and Gil Scott and Susie Quattro and B-52s for hours listening to Prince's Controversy, turning the album cover over in my hands, analyzing. Did he really mean it? Did he love us that much? Was he really saying this? Am I black or white? Am I straight or gay? People call me rude. I wish we all were nude. I wish there was no black and white. I wish there were no rules. We were all alone in a world where Christians wanted us dead, but there was Prince. Coke and whiskey and starfish and coffee and Let's Go Crazy and Jack You Off and Anti-Christian and Purple Rain, a cult crossover hit. And Under the Cherry Moon, panned by critics, but he could do no wrong. And ruffled shirts and romance and femme dykes on stage is spitting image. Girl versions of him. A narcissist's dream of straight-acting queers fucking the mirror like there might be something going on. Just like us and our pals, brown and black and white, fags and dykes, passing joints at the disco. Sexy even if there was a plague. One big cuddle party. It didn't feel lonesome. It felt right. And like, motherfuckers better make room for us because if they didn't, we were coming through anyway. Led by the most fearless, least fucks-giving motherfucker on the planet with all the moves and a voice that could go from girl to boy in a second. If he wasn't intimidated, neither were we. 89, me and my records got tossed on the street because I got high and everyone was mad. 2016, I'm shamed now more than I was that day because when I look to pay homage to the man, I gotta go to the internet like some kind of poser because I never bought new Prince records. The night after he leaves us, it's a full moon. I put on When Doves Cry. But it keeps stopping in the middle because everyone in the world is playing it, because somewhere along the line we all lost our records. The clouds are all over the moon. She's real big behind that cloud cover. I can tell. I light the candles and say, "Come out, you gotta call him home." And the clouds part, and I say, "I'm sorry, Prince, I lost the records. I'm sorry. It's not that I ever stopped loving you. I just thought you'd always be there." I feel like a lot of these guys, the brilliance of music and performers, like singer-songwriters for me, is that they are so personal. You know, Freddie Mercury or whoever, you know, it just feels like because they're queer that, you know, they know me. Like nobody else fucking knew us. Like they were telling our story secretly, especially when they're in the closet. Especially if nobody knew Freddie Mercury was fucking queer in the 70s. My buds all like, "Yeah, he's gay." I'm like, "What?" "How can he be though? He's a successful rock star." You know, impossible. My pal's like, "Just look at the guys in the Castro and then look at this album." Also, I just wanted to point out that Sylvester also was happening at that same time as Freddie Mercury and was not doing punk rock, but was definitely had punk ethic. And to me, like a lot of what punk is less about the style of music than what people are doing, which is a big fuck you. New Year's Eve at the Slater-Kinney concert. So this is a true story. And I was never like a big fan of Slater-Kinney, even though like I agreed with everything I did and they were peers. I was just like, Slater-Kinney. You know, they're around. But anyway, the gorgeous babe I'm dating was really into them. So she was like, "Do you want to go see Slater-Kinney for New Year's Eve?" And I was like, "Of course I do." And then actually I had a good time and they were amazing. So take back everything I said about them. No, I'm kidding. I never said anything bad about them, and I never will. And now I'm really sold, especially because Carrie Brownstein had this like office lady fucking houndstooth jersey like suit on with pumps and was playing guitar and like climbed up on top of the fucking drum set and was doing this and for a long time and then was like trying to get down. It was totally nerdy and awkward and it was just so great. I was like, that is punk rock right there. Just nerdy, weird awkwardness. Just like embrace it. Okay. Demarcations of New Year's, new angles on old fights, new love for girls you have known for years and looked away. Now in your hands, fingers around your hips, like the double barrel handles of an automatic at the arcade. Point and shoot, bad guys falling, rock stars calling you to choose your weapon. Boy brings another bass. Tunes prime, loaded to empty on the crowd. Meat men's job. Meat men, that's what I'm calling the security guys. We have a lot of security guards at concerts because you know how like punk rockers are a threat. Meat men's job, not removing girls, but balloons from between barriers and rock god movie moguls in houndstooth business lady suits. Who say, "Laughs on you, big guy," mimicking Angus Young in a kilt. "Call me a middle-aged white girl." True, it was a problem with the movement, working on it, but look, I still run your world. She telepaths direct to the new old boy network boy. 30-year-old yawning next to me, hoping to be noticed by Queen of the Swarm. Sorry, she's taken. Looking to get laid by riots in the body of a girl to which he wanked, born, addicted, and ejected from a northwestern teen hormone womb of heroin and heroines. No one told the bouncer, "This means girls can now bounce balls in the air triumphant to the songs of two dead men fucking with gender roles, George Michael and David Bowie, shouting from the stage for the floor, hallowed halls of rock in frocks, anthems of queer children, confessions of outcasts and ciphers, secret, rebel, torn dress, messy-faced malformations of generations you hid in books and manifested invisibility, only to later parade their way across the boards and wake up others who pretend to be bored, but are really just numb because nerves have been yanked from them, plucked, strangled, pounded, like the crazy piano player who raised the hood and put objects on wires to recreate sounds of fire. And hitting ivories made nightmares for grown-ups, made them pay and pretend to like it. No clapping. These children for whom dissonance is still all that makes sense grow like vines around old trees and still green, face the sun, light shining through them. At midnight, she turns to you and through sugar and calf, special recipe, famously unknown the world over, to be the taste of capitalism, the bottle drained and dropped by gods who must be crazy. Great served ice cold in the snow, enjoyed by Santa in the North Pole. Even you can see this moment will be the through line of the rest of your years. The suspension piano wire on which you will zip over jungles, matcha machete dangling from fingers, topping trees just enough to get an aromatic mix. Rival macaws that reveal monkeys spur you on and see space as just another desert to cross. Waves to ricochet and settle us all into dreams with a note that holds everlasting. Now you can clap. Of course. I need more water. See, with punk rock is that you only have to go roar, 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 roar. Roar, 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 roar. See, with this is the one drawback is you just need a lot of water. And an attentive German audience. Americans would never be sitting still this long. Listen. They're like, well, that was cool, now I gotta go smoke with my friends. Yeah. It even has colon soil. I thought maybe you went and filled up a bottle from the bathroom or something. Oh, no, this is real shit right here, okay. Okay, I have one more. My pronouns are I, you, we. What now, Mickey Blanca? Queer Nation turns its rebel eyes to you. Mickey raps wrath to men, condescending how they'll pay him. This ain't a hobby, calls us to him. Circle up, calls us round. Story time, tale from the periphery of him. A hymn of stolen property, balls of lightning shoot out his hands at a history of bastards. What's the deal with pronouns? I mean, why align with fuckheads? G.B. Jones made fun, but maybe not all men are. Look at Mickey. At times like us too, why we choose this team of not-so-righteous dudes to be, as in a life briefly recalled, as we squoze down the long natal hall. Why align with assholes? To be exceptions, straighten the rest out. Hey you guys, I mean friends. This way to humanity, by modeling correct male behavior, not ass out, do we change other men, be the light and the way? Big job, someone's got to, most likely them. In the original sense, they used to be ones to blame, as in us against, and one day they became us. When one was a girl, it was acquiescence. Moved on to rocker chick, gnarly death bitch, butch, old dad, one tran, two trans. They, a bold leap. Out of binary bins. Neither, both. Lynn's a boy's name, a footballer named Swan. Can we just go with Lenny? Special spelling no one can pronounce. Lene? A refusal of pronouns altogether. Or make up some, shim, herm. What I meant was, we're confused by the system of gender ascribed to parts. Girls are so cool. I sometimes wish I was one. And men get free tickets to everything, but I have no idea what they're talking about. Professional sports, Tom of Finland, a good look, yet not hot. This boy nor girl, more like a mascot, apart, connected. That pronoun arrow overhead, if I believe what they said, when the doc pulled me out, points to what to do in bed. But instead, it's red, pointing to inside work on your heart, not your head. Hey guys, I mean, people, you don't have to pronoun showdown the guy at Home Depot who doesn't know and then he's confused and a spotlight shines on me now. Do we really want to help everyone feel better, assure them all is in order? Now what, Mickey Blanca? Back, forward, or lateral? You said, I'm a man. I had an adventure in gender, and with that comes judgment and questions and accusatory. So you're not trans? And dangling at the end of that participle. Don't talk about my jump. Here's an evocative outfit. Is a suggestion us liminals won't get the cachet deserving of criminals. A secret public journey. Some will accompany you. Explain yourself. Tired of educating. Sometimes you don't even know. Have you solved for why? The answer keeps changing. I would claim they, them, themselves. But if we're going to go plural, how about the royal we? But I was never a king. Is it a choice? Does it choose you? The privileged believe what they think they see. The part visible to society is between you and you, or me and me. And yet, songs are needed on why not to touch people's hair or ask what's in their boxers. What enrages us keeps us hawking truth loogies into the mouths of baby birds at the foot of stages. One of many, one, the many, you, we, me, Mickey and Drew. Drew of Trap Girl, light, shining out eyes, sway, stomp, straight up way, or slouch like James Dean. We reject closets, even though some go for the price of an apartment. Better yet, Sylvester or Star Amarasu. What now, Mickey Blanca? Lead us out, we're bleeding out. Jack H. covered range of masculinity. Never mind, it's all toxicity. Butler's theory of performativity, unable to parse a soul's poetry. I want to be a man like Mickey. One beat, fingers splayed, wrist caught. The next, mic stand flung across shoulders. Classic man like Cooper Lee posing before transition. Just a king, raging. Mickey, you're half short, half pant, shirt tucked, untucked, referring to nobody's butts, easy as fashion, a daily decision. You won't be androgenized, exemplifying extremes, fucked and unfucked, queer bitch found. You yell out, we must protect black children. We must protect black trans women. Eradicate prisons. Decree, we still need abolition. Action, fall out of line and in love. Race me, embrace maleness, not bailing on you. God is incarnate. Dare anyone call your manliness toxic. We're the beloved who loves you. The reason for all moves. Throw us skyward. Trust you'll land in the midst of us. I could do one more, but it's kind of long. I don't know. Okay. But where is Mickey Blanco? I cannot find him.
Listen.
So I know, I'm going there. I'm going to find his ass, but I think he's on tour or something. Anyway, I want to meet him. I saw him on stage. Has anybody met him? He was living here, right?
Yeah.
And did you guys like hang out with him? Did you like pal around at Ludwig or some shit? No? Never? Where? You did not.
His first night at Berghain, he went downstairs to the laboratory and it was a scat night. He got pooped on that and he loves to tell that story.
Wait, it was a scat night and then he did what?
He didn't realize it.
Oh, and so then he went home and never came out again?
Yeah.
I understand that. That's totally understandable. Okay. Well, good. I'm glad he has an alibi. Are we going to talk about stuff after this? We are? Are we going to go to the next Kneipe? I heard that you can't call it a Kneipe anymore, it's a locale. No. Whatever, it's always going to be a Kneipe to me, pal. except now they have the best alcoholfreies beer. That is amazing. It smells so, tastes so fruity and cold. Used to be, they would serve beer, and it was a rule. It would take 7 minutes, even though it was 100 degrees out in Berlin. You had to wait the whole 7 minutes while they like whacked it and put more bloomas and shit. You're like, help me! And they're like, no, do not touch the beer. Step away from the beer. And it had to be room temperature. That was the stupidest rule. They're like, it needs to be cold. So I'm so glad that Americans have come to Berlin and have a school job, and now the beer is cold. It's amazing. Thank you very much. My work here is done. Okay. I don't know what happened. It was so cold. Okay. Did these glasses make me look smart?
They do.
They're all business. Yeah. They're new to me. I like just not seeing very well for a while, but then stop working. Okay, this is called Dysfunction. Enter Donald Trump. Oh, I said his name. I mean 45. Exit Leonard Cohen. Wherein Leonard is the teenage boy with dog day afternoon looks. Trump is drunk stepdad, and the whole brood is lifted up. A rapture of cool. Your face is a mess. Dad, I'm not calling you dad. Cleaning your shotgun. Fit the rock gut in your crotch. Let's wait and see till you lose a son and we're wrecked. Oh, Leonard, what a poet. Left us right when this asshole is about to provide material. What a sassy boy, sad, serious boy. What a big brother who got all the babes, all the backup singers in his band to jump in his bed and then become stars. Or was it them that made him big? Leonard's rolling around the record player while Bad Dad rages over steak and whiskey and how he can grab pussy because he's a star. Too aggro, too grabby. Leonard stood still till cats came to him. Leonard, been called asshole himself, knew one when he saw one, saw trouble and said, oh, I just realized I had a date at a dive for a show. Will replenish the millions my manager stole. His motives have been questioned. One of the guys used lines for love. He was accused of using love for lines. What kind of guy rats out Janis Joplin for blowing him at the Chelsea, singing about how she preferred handsome men, but for him she'd make an exception? What kind of guy beats his knuckles bloody and leaves right when the biggest loser barges in? Cohen. Ah, fuck this, I gotta go. I'm a lone wolf, taking no shit, no family ties. Well, there's one tie, not to this family though. Hope you don't mind. My girlfriend's coming over to tie me to the kitchen chair and cut my hair, hallelujah. All the other children, we want to leave early. Not everyone is done with their shift though. Not everyone has done all their chores though. Listen to Dad rant. Not all songs have been sung. Instruction manuals of how to commit patricide set on the shelf, color coordinated like the truly literate do. Not all movies glorifying the Menendez brothers have been kerchunked into the VCR in the background blaring. Blink twice if you need us, Melania. Never mind, you're getting your due. Well, not even Slovenian supermodel first babe deserves that. Everyone's favorite MILF. Do you guys know what a MILF is? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Thank God that cultural fucking piece got to Berlin. Okay. We could all bow out the back door, feed the dog under the table, smoke on the porch while Mom does the dishes after cooking the dinner, and Dad says, you know, she works so hard. Well, thank you, honey, she calls out from a tub and says, thank you for that. He ashes on a dirty plate and burps. Ew, gross. Not my real dad, fuck you. You're at the top of my resentment list. We have to process. But I can't even look at you. We have to talk. But I make it a point not to talk with those who take shots when it's slop and act like they called it. I may be a shark, but I don't take advantage, and I've been that guy too drunk to sink it. But I have broken a pool cue over a rapist. I'll put an 8-ball in my fist and roundhouse a racist, just waiting for my moment, for you to pass out. A beer dangling from your fingers. DT. What's that stand for? Dictator, your drag name? I I hitchhiked on a world tour sewing a red maple leaf on my backpack before you repaired your good standing. Till that great new boyfriend moved in. Grandpa never liked him. He was so hot. 8 years grown up running the house. So nice. Hot meal every night. No one passed out on the couch. The electricity on when we got home. So proud of us as a family. That guy was real bad. Remember when friends escaped to our place because we looked like heroes compared to that frat house with the red, black, and white flag down the Strasse? And now that mob's chanting Heil, you on the veranda calling gangs to run out neighbors for makers, genders, colors, or headscarves. Point fingers. It's you, not them. No, it's you. It's me. We gotta talk. But I just can't. Can we text? Now my dad, you say, have freedom, I trust you. You are not grounded. Yeah, neither are you. You deserve everything, a convertible Mustang, a dog, unless you're Indian or black or Muslim. Oh, you say, you must have misspoke. The pursuit of happiness is not for everybody. Can't they take a joke? Just lie, whitewash, here, have money, a life, be loved, have school, liquor, speed, take my advice, I'm not using it. Just don't be brown, not Arab or Mexican, I'll call ICE. Can't make Indians leave, just fuck up their natural life. Let's forgive Leonard for Beautiful Losers because it was just like the title said. Bad Dad says, not everyone gets to leave yet because wait, you are grounded and your friends have to leave, party's over. Grounded in race up to our neck in bows and photos of your boys sure of themselves after hanging a man, crowded around for a shot, banal as a picnic. Someone has to stay and clean up. Leonard sings to the dead in 2016. Prince, Bowie, Vanity, making us dance, singing butt while thinking. Harper Lee, killing mockingbirds of Benny Shakur. Tupac's Panther Mom. Ali floating butterfly like for the revolution. Elie Wiesel, hunting. Gene Wilder, prior straight white man. Alexis Arquette, who was trans, then gender suspicious. John Glenn's One Small Step for Man. Zsa Zsa, who married 9 men, a refugee from Hungary's gotta keep herself in jewelry, most famous for slapping a cop. Princess Leia, facing down evil empires, and her mom, who wouldn't stay without her baby. Party now, broken home, runaways, and Leonard can pay for everything he broke. Nancy Reagan and Phyllis Schlafly can hold up the wall, just say no. Fall on deaf ears, no to power. Rights, Black America, AIDS, ladies against women, women against gays. Wrap yourself in cellophane. Greet your man at the gate with a pitcher of martinis. Feminism will go away. Leonard smoothly assuages, swaying, raises his arm against it to cast the bride's bouquet. Ah, the beautiful dead. Maybe Janice is up for more head. We'll hold it down, dragging egos tied to our bumpers, all the way to Standing Rock. Won't take a ride badge like a poser who rides with bikers just to say he went. We'll see what's needed, or if we're more of a suck on resources than a blow to the man. Bad Dad will carry on. Leonard and Prince prepare us the way. Storm security, jump on stage, yelling to mic, instruments of peace. Fucks it up in the pit, aggression release. Not my real dad. So don't tell me what to do with your skinhead pals in that backyard party. Not alt, as in different. Alt, as in old school. Good old-fashioned Third Reich. Around the keg, breaking kneecaps with punk icon cool kids who visit from down the road. They heard about us. Watch where you slam, headbanger. Throwing elbows in girls' eyes, hands, and panties of those who serve crowds. Beating up POC, because everyone knows the punks are all white. Leonard left us in charge, powered mic swinging on a long cord, whipping over our heads. Slung with a deft hand, knock you out, not dead. Reel it back, keep singing, not missing beats, call you out, rile up the crowd. Might be you trampled this time unnoticed, passed out under souls, rocks, blood, docks. Thank you and good night. No, we don't have an encore and we're not